CFO. 2. Exposure. 3. Capital. 4. Arrearage. 5. Sandbagging. 6. Overhead. 7. Physical plant. 8. Accounts receivable. 9. Accounts payable. 10. Phoning it in. 11. CEO. 12. Subsidiary. 13. Bean counting. 14. Quarterly reviews. 15. Interface. 16. Incentive. 17. Cautionary tale. 18. ROI. 19. Woolly mammoth. 20. Whale. 21. Per se. 22. Metric. 23. Fiscal year. 24. Ratios. 25. Trend lines. Here's a conversation about the role of financial executives and accountants in the environment of a large corporation. As someone once said, you can't live with them, and you can't live without them.
Sometimes executives on the financial side of large corporations don't get respect as innovators or generators of profits. Has that been your experience at all?
Well, CFOs definitely participate in the decision-making process that generates revenue, but other people on the financial side may be less involved, so sometimes they do get less respect.
Why does that happen?
For one thing, financial people can seem hesitant. They have to speak out against reckless exposure. They see their job as trying to preserve capital rather than growing capital. And of course, they're generally very averse to arrearage. That kind of caution can be mistaken for sandbagging. Sometimes, finance people are seen as nothing more than overhead, as if they were part of the physical plant. It's as if they just mechanically process accounts receivable and accounts payable. But you can't run a company without those functions. It's not just phoning it in.
So how can a person on the financial side advance in a corporate environment?
Being well connected is part of it. Make yourself useful to the CEO. That way, when a subsidiary manager makes a proposal, the CEO can say, "Why don't you talk to my friend in the bean counting department?" Also, let people know that their quarterly reviews will be affected by how they interface with finance. They need to have an incentive to take you seriously.
What kind of feedback should a good finance person offer beyond cautionary tales about risk and debt?
Well, ROI is always the basic goal. But how do you define ROI? Can you precisely quantify the difference between a woolly mammoth and a whale? Numbers, per se, are not always the best metric. For example, only comparing this fiscal year to the last one can be deceptive. Ratios are more informative. For instance, the ratio of sales expenses to sales income can be revealing. Trend lines can also give you information that raw numbers don't provide.
CFO. Definition. CFO is an abbreviation for Chief Financial Officer. In a business or corporation, the CFO is a senior executive with overall financial responsibility for the entire enterprise. This includes planning new projects, supervising current ones, and dealing with any remaining concerns from projects in the past. The CFO works closely with the Chief Executive Officer and is usually the second highest ranked executive in a company. Sentence example. The new CFO needed some time to become acquainted with our firm's eccentric accounting methods, which aren't the methods taught in business schools. Exposure. Definition. Exposure is the possibility or probability of financial damage to an individual or a company. Exposure can be attached to investments, hiring decisions, expansion possibilities, or virtually any other change in the way a company does business. Exposure is typically something that companies seek to avoid, but since the possibility of gain is often directly tied to the presence of exposure, risk can also be a sign of opportunity. Sentence example. Introducing a new sugary candy bar to the retail market carries significant exposure because the public is becoming more conscious of weight-related